I didn't realize it until I turned the camera on that my shirt and these nails and this background is a lot to look at. But we're gonna roll with it. Howdy Internet, my name is Victoria, the chatty introvert. Welcome back to my channel. And today I bring you a video on somebody who I think has been robbed of the spotlight for far too long. So it is up to me in this dumpster fire of a year that we're having to shine that spotlight. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my very brief or possibly long, I don't know how long I'm going to be talking until I edit this, TED Talk on why I think the director Anne Fletcher deserves 48 Oscars. We will not accept any less than 48. Like, the minimum is 48. You could give us more than that. That would be great. You could give her more than that. But 48 is the minimum asking price of Oscars at the moment. So, for those of you who are watching this video who have no idea who Anne Fletcher is, then let me be the first person to present you with that knowledge. She is a director, and, well, she's a dancer, who then became a choreographer, who then became a director, who has 6 directorial credits to her name at the moment, and those movies are Step Up, 27 Dresses, The Proposal, The Guilt Trip, Hot Pursuit, Switching Hands, Dumpling. She has a slew of choreographer and dancing credits, and thanks to the power of Wikipedia, here those are. This is one of not only my favorite rom-coms, but my favorite movies in general. It was released in 2008, which I feel like was the era where romantic comedies were starting to slowly fizzle away a little bit. They were still being made, they just weren't receiving the same hype as the 90s ones were, like Pretty Woman and Sleepless in Seattle. Miss Fletcher, however, seemed to successfully be able to revive this almost forgotten genre of film by presenting us with a plot that hadn't really been done before. So we have Margaret, who is going to be deported back to Canada unless she can get her hands on a green card. And she somehow convinces her assistant Andrew to lie and say that they're engaged. And now she's in Alaska with his family and having to prove to the deportation people that they are in fact going to be wed. The plot of this film focuses around 2 people who are slowly starting to fall in love and not hate each other anymore. But the pacing of it is done so well that you feel like you're just watching 2 people that you're friends with, and it's not so crazy and set up and cliched like most romantic comedies tend to do, because that's kind of what the whole genre has built itself up on. It's not so extravagant to the point where you are more focused on, this could never happen in real life, this is not how relationships work, and you're able to just enjoy the ride and enjoy watching these 2 people slowly kind of start to maybe not hate each other, and then by the end of it, when they, spoiler alert, I guess, but this movie came out in 2008, so why haven't you seen it? They kiss at the end. That's when you're fully brought back into the fact that, oh, I'm watching a romantic comedy, which, on her part, I fully commend, because that is so hard to do, to make somebody feel like they're not watching a romantic comedy when they are. That's a feat that has not been reached very often in that genre, and she did it, and she did it with style, and she did it with Betty White. Fletcher, and I'm just going to keep calling her that because I don't know her personally, and my parents always told me to address people by their last names until they give you permission to address them by their first name. Yes, I am a 20-year-old woman who still follows this rule, but like I said in the beginning of the video, we're going to roll with it. Seems to have a real talent for putting 2 actors together for leads who, one, you never would have thought to put together, and 2, you didn't know you needed together. Seth Rogen and Barbra Streisand. And those two people separately are fantastic at what they do. So logically, if you take two fantastic people and put them on screen as mother and son, it should work, right? Well, guess what? It does in this movie. And I don't give a crap what any of those Rotten Tomatoes scores say. This movie works. Every single one of her supporting characters in all of her movies are solid and interesting. Most of the time, movies put a lot of effort into their main players and severely underwrite the supporting characters to the point where they almost become unnecessary. You're left wanting to see more from these people who come in and out because of the way that they're brought so seamlessly into the plot. And that is a sign of a dope side character. Office numbers for a lot of these movies and say, dang, these aren't good. Well, here's a hot take for you real quick. Just because a movie doesn't do well at the box office financially doesn't always equate to it being a bad movie. Wow, a concept. The figures a movie brings in at the box office can happen for a multiple of reasons. It can have to do with the time of year it's released. It can have to do with the countries or how many theaters it's released in, how much advertisement was done for the film. It can even have to do with the financial state of the countries that you're releasing these movies in and how much people are willing to pay to go to see a movie at a movie theater. So, for example, to bring it back around to this movie, The Guilt Trip was released in December 2012, which I think was a terrible move on the people who released this film. November through December is the time of year when Christmas Eve films are being shoved down everybody's throats, and they're being advertised left and right. And people in general just want to see movies that remind them of Christmas. Springtime would have been an excellent time to release this film because competition is a lot lower for lower budget films during that time because a lot of your Marvels and your DC movies come out in the summer. And because there's not a whole lot of big name films out during the springtime, usually there might be like one or two sprinkled in there, people tend to take more risk when they go to the theater. I know I have gone and been like, I don't know what any of these movies are, so we're just going to pick one and we're going to roll with it. And that would have been an excellent demographic of people to market or at least make this movie available to. Long story short, if you try to pull the whole, well, her numbers though argument, it's not going to work. And judging somebody's movies and the goodness of their movies on their financial gain is not really a fair way of judging it to begin with. The concept for every single one of her movies, just purely on plot, is originality at its finest. A lot of her scripts for her movies, if they had not been given to her, i.e., the right person, or had not been directed in the way that she directed them, could have been not great. Hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming to my pitch meeting today. So, basic plot of this film. We have a girl who wants to mix hip-hop into her ballet dancing, and we have a troubled young man who meets her, and then they dance for the whole movie. That's it? They just dance? Yep, they just dance. But she was able to take it and add her own directing finesse while also adding her own life experience as a dancer into it to create one of, dare I say, the greatest dance movies to ever grace the face of the planet. Side note, the trajectory of her becoming a director is amazing and interesting on its own, being a director, or they go from writing to being a director, or they go from nothing to being a director. But she really went from crumping to telling people how to crump to directing people on screen who are crumping. That you know, who can direct a scene to pure comedic gold, call cut, and then pop, lock, and drop her way to craft services. Like, name one. I'll wait. Time's up, because you can't do it. She's the only one. That's it. It's her. It's Anne Fletcher. To this little video essay that I was inspired to make, Anne Fletcher's ability to take two very strong leads, a cast of really strong supporting characters, mix all of them into a very original plot, and also her ability to revive a genre that could arguably, or did arguably, die about 10 years ago, is why she deserves 48 Oscars. She's genuinely such a talented director who is able to craft these scenes of comedy, which is not a small feat. Comedy is one of, if not the hardest genre to pull off successfully, and she makes it look so easy. I watched as many interviews as I could find of hers on YouTube, and I read as many articles as I can find to do this video, because I take research very seriously. And one of the quotes that I read of hers that really stuck with me was this one, and it says, "You are not a female or a male. You are a dancer. And when I started going into choreography, I became part of a team of people making movies. I wasn't a woman choreographer, I was a choreographer." We never say male director. That's just not a thing. We just say director. But whenever we talk about a female director, that's the first thing you have to put in front of her name. You have to always point out that she's a female. This goes with every female director. Like, why do we have to put female in front? Just call her a director. That's what she is. That's her job. Like, when I stage manage, people don't call me female stage manager Victoria. My title is just stage manager Victoria. Doing research for this video brought that to my attention, and the amount of times interviewers would be like, "What is it like to be a female director?" It's like being any other director. I feel like when you're in positions, especially in entertainment, like when I stage manage, I've never felt less of a stage manager because I'm a woman. I just do my job. Like, I was hired to do a job, and I did the job. So when Anne Fletcher is hired to direct a movie, she's not being hired to direct a movie because she's a woman. She's hired to direct a movie because she's a great director. So just call her a director. Gloomy Florida day and listening to my TED Talk about the wonderful Anne Fletcher. I hope that the entertainment industry gives her a lot more opportunities to showcase her greatness in the future. I would love to see her try out other genres, horror, drama, sci-fi. I want to see all of it. I want to see a movie a year from this woman, and I will accept no less. I'm adding that to the contract of 48 Oscars. You also have to give her a movie a year, Hollywood, to produce all of those movies for her, but I am merely but a poor actress. Me rambling about one of my favorite people on this planet, who I don't personally know, but when has that ever been a prerequisite for saying somebody's your favorite? If you enjoyed me talking about film and one of my favorite directors, then feel free to subscribe to my channel, because that's what you're probably going to hear a lot more of, is just me talking about movies and people in the film industry that I really enjoy. Me on my socials, I have an Instagram and I have a Snapchat, and I'll also put those down in the description. Thanks again for watching, and again, Hollywood, Miss Fletcher and I are awaiting the arrival of those 48 Oscars. We will accept them FedEx, UPS, USPS, Period.